Okay, here are the notes for angle relationships. When you have more than one angle, they can be related to each other in certain ways, or they can be totally unrelated at all. We have just a few of them that we're covering today. There's a linear pair. Kind of reference this picture to describe them. A linear pair occurs anytime you have two adjacent angles. So this adjacent is kind of the key word in here. So that means they have to be next to each other, and together they make a line. So if you look at angle B and angle A, okay, here's angle B, and here's angle A. Together, they're making this straight line that's underneath them. Okay, so together they form that line. If you took the two angles, so that one plus this one, you end up with this straight angle. That means they're a linear pair. Now, straight angles have 180 degrees, okay? And angles that add up to 180 degrees are called supplementary. When you have two angles whose measures add up to 180. So that means that a linear pair is always going to be supplementary. The same can't go the other way. Supplementary angles are not always a linear pair. For example, this is 130 degrees and this is 50. These two would be supplementary. I add their angles up together, they add up to 180 degrees. But it's not a linear pair because they are not adjacent. Okay, that's where that key word comes in for the linear pair. The next one is complementary angles. So similar to supplementary, except this time they're going to add it to 90 instead of 180. Okay, again, those don't have to be connected. They can be separate. So if you have an angle that's 40 and an angle that's 50, those are complementary angles. And the last one is vertical angles. And this should be brand new to everybody. Vertical angles are congruent. And the way that we pick out vertical angles is that they're going to be across each other anytime two lines cross. So these red angles are vertical angles, and they're congruent. And these green angles are congruent to each other because they're also vertical angles. Two marks there. Okay, and if you get more complicated pictures for vertical angles, so if you get things that have a lot of lines in them, okay, something maybe like this. Okay, then what you want to do is you want to trace the lines that make the angle. So if I'm trying to find an angle that is vertical to this one, I'm going to trace the lines that make that angle. And where it comes out on the other side, this would be its vertical angle. Okay, which means it would have the same measurement. So if this is a 40-degree angle, this is also a 40-degree angle. And that's true for every set of vertical angles. So it can be tricky because sometimes they'll say, you know, okay, is this red angle vertical with this one? Okay, that might be a question. Now they are across each other on an X. But if I trace the lines that make this angle, okay, I do not get the other line that makes this angle. I only get the two lines that make this one. So those would not be vertical. Okay, we'll just run through some examples quick. Okay, 48 plus 42 equals 90, so these will be complementary. $95 plus 85 is 180, so these are supplementary. If you have trouble remembering which is which, C comes before S, just like 90 comes before 180. So that can be a little trick to help you remember the difference between complementary and supplementary. Okay, these angles here will be a linear pair. Okay, because this angle in conjunction with this angle equals the straight angle here, equals 180 degrees. 1 and 2, okay, they're next to each other and they would make this line together. That means that this is a linear pair. 1 and 3 are across from each other. Okay, so that means that they would be vertical. Okay, 1 and 4, again a linear pair. 2 and 3 are also a linear pair. 2 and 4 are our other set of vertical angles. And 3 and 4 would be, again, our linear pair. Okay, and that wraps it up for this part of our angle relationships. We'll eventually get some other angle relationships, but these are the only ones we're going to cover in our first chapter here.